to Norrköping Symphony Orchestra and the Allan Pettersson Project. My name is Karin. I am CEO and Artistic Director of the orchestra, and with us today are friends from abroad, and therefore I suggest that we hold this first part of the press conference in English. But then of course you're welcome to ask questions in Swedish, and if you want to make separate interviews, we are happy to do that. And this concert hall is also used for conference, and today is a very busy day in the house, but I hope that we can be heard in this little corner. And by my side is Christian Lindberg, welcome, conductor and composer. And with us are also Robert von Bahr from Bahr Records, and Robert Suff, producer, and very welcome to you too. And I also asked some members from the orchestra to join us today, and please welcome Henrik Pettersson, our first concertmaster. Now the question, why an Allan Pettersson project? I think we will try to answer that question together. But let me start with the orchestra's point of view. The Norrköping Symphony Orchestra started to record Pettersson already in 1976, and then with Orchestra. And over the years, quite a few of the symphonies were recorded with different conductors, but already since 1992 with Bahr Records. So there really was a very strong relationship established. And with the release of Symphony No. 1 and 2 in 2011 with Christian, and then the release of No. 6 in 2012, also with Christian, something of a project started to manifest itself. And together we had an ongoing discussion during 2012. And you know, over the years, there have been many critical voices heard that Pettersson's music is so rarely performed. And for instance, when his 100th birthday was remembered, again, the 7th symphony was performed by the major orchestras. And when we here in Norrköping presented the 6th symphony in a concert 2011, previous to the recording, and likewise when we presented the 9th symphony, I think we were quite overwhelmed by the audience, how they responded. And of course, this strengthened me in the decision to discuss a project with the orchestra. And I am today very proud that Norrköping Symphony Orchestra is taking the responsibility of presenting the work of one of the most prominent Swedish composers to the world in high quality recordings. It is also quite amazing to undertake a project like this with the orchestra based in a city the size of Norrköping. And even if we do not have a full house tonight, far from it, we have an engaged and enthusiastic audience in a city of a little more than 130,000 people. And today we are also releasing the recording of the 9th symphony, and we have recordings for you to take along. And this also includes the film Vox Humana, a documentary about the composer made for the Swedish television by Peter Berggren, Tommy Höglind and Gunnar Källström, with subtitles in English. And after the press conference, the film will be shown in the conference room right next door. And of course, for tonight's concert, we also have Gunnar Källström's beautiful photos of Allan Pettersson exposed upstairs. So now, I think I will ask you, Christian, to go further.
Yeah, the question was Nej, jag tar det så här också. The question was why this project, and I was asked to take over this series in 2006, I think, starting with the barefoot songs and the string concertos by Bahr. I was always a huge Pettersson fan, even since I was 10 years old. I first heard his 6th symphony, actually, not the 7th. And so when I took on this project, I of course was aware of how great he was, and I was a big fan. But something happened when I went through the 1st symphony, restored it, and did the 2nd symphony at the same time. I thought, wow, what is this? Why don't I know more about Pettersson? The same thing happened when I was confronted with number 6. At first, I had it in my mind, and I had it somewhere. I've heard it, I've heard the recordings and everything. But going deeply into the score, I felt really, really guilty that I didn't understand how fantastic this symphony was. And I was telling people around, and it seems that there is a block, between people and Pettersson. 7th symphony is accepted, and the barefoot song. The rest is open. So I felt, what can we do about this? We just have to do something. So we started to discuss, Karin and I and Bahr, to make a proper promotion, because we need to, I need to hear symphonies over and over and over again, and we must have people hearing them over and over again before we can understand how great it really is. It's strikingly similar to the Mahler syndrome. When Mahler died in 1911, he was considered a bad composer who over-orchestrated all the time. The first conductor to sort of bring his music forward was Mengelberg, but that was not enough. Bernstein did a wonderful project in the 60s. And I'm truly inspired by that project. So I want to, if the finance and everything is enough, that we do a similar project to this to really make him famous. And we have created a Facebook page, and you have seen this project. And I think it takes at least 5-6 years of constant promoting to really get it down to the audience. And also, I'm deeply, deeply thankful that we have in Sweden, and in the world actually, a record company who are really devoting 100% to quality. Because the recording sessions that we've had and the post-production work and everything around it is of the highest possible quality. And with those words, I would like to lead over to Mr. Bahr himself, Robert von Bahr.
Oh dear, how do you go on from that? It is slightly embarrassing to stand here and tickle each other's backs, but I cannot not do it, because frankly speaking, this is a very, very difficult project. It is extremely hard on the orchestra. It's hard on the public as well sometimes, and it needs somebody who really, really feels for this kind of music to go through with it. And so let me, from the outset, say that I'm extremely grateful, and really extremely grateful, to both the orchestra, Christian Lindberg and Dave Sigistam, who have been taking this project to the phase where it is now. And without people like the Norrköping Symphony Orchestra, this would not have been possible. It just wouldn't have been. Going back a bit, I never knew Allan Pettersson, but somehow I did know him. In the mid-70s, we recorded, or rather we released a recording of the Voxhumana. And he liked it very, very much because this was in a problematic time for him, a very problematic time for him, and he had been just forbidding the Stockholm Philharmonic to record and even play his music because he felt that they didn't do much justice to it, even though Dorati was very interested in it. Absolutely refused that. There was no way I could come and meet with him, but he did talk to me on the telephone quite extensively until a period which must have been extremely painful for him because he started to phone me up in the middle of the night, every night, for a month about 2:30, the telephone call came, and I answered it. I knew who it was, of course, but nobody else would phone me at that time of the night. But he never spoke. He actually just screamed, unarticulated screaming and cursing in the telephone. He must have been in a totally, absolutely horrible pain. Now, I happen to have a disease which has the same kind of symptoms before I got medicine for it, and I know if he had anything like I had, I can understand him. It must have been horrible, these arthritis pains he had. So we communicated on a subhuman level in a way. I mean, he's screaming and me trying to say something that could comfort him and not succeeding very well, I must say. And then all of a sudden these calls just stopped. He didn't die, but he stopped doing them. At the time I felt it was a relief, obviously, because he was keeping me up. But afterwards I'm cursing myself that I couldn't participate more in the pains he had and try to have some kind of other communication. So the communication has to be one-sided, his music to me, and that is what happened. In the beginning, I didn't feel as strongly for the music as I do now, not anywhere near it. But when Leif started with the Norrköping Orchestra to record pairs of symphonies, always adding up to 18, by the way, number 3 and 15, number 10 and 8, 10 and 8, and number 11 and 7. I really got hooked on it. Then Leif, for some reason, didn't want to continue, or maybe it was the orchestra, I really don't know. But it just stopped in the mid-90s, and nothing happened with this until Christian came along and started doing the string symphonies. And now he's so keen on it, and I'm so happy about it, that we can have this cooperation, because it needs a fire, it needs a fiery temperament to really do this music justice. And it needs somebody who is stubborn enough to put his will through. And Christian is. Everybody who knows Christian knows that, at least. And I'm now finding that we are going through with this project, and by 1918 we should have it finished, and then we should have finished every note he ever wrote, like we did with Sibelius, we'll do with Pettersson. And I think it is a fantastic project. It's a worthwhile project. It is something. He is a screaming voice, not for the telephone call, but I mean his music is a screaming voice that needs to be heard in the world. And I do believe, and I do agree with Christian, that this is something that will have its time. It hasn't come yet, but it will come. And somebody has to be the icebreaker, and we are. And for that, I'm eternally grateful. This is a great project. It's one of the best we have ever done, and let us really hope that we can bring it to fruition in the quality that Christian and the Norrköping